Hey gang, Captain Jim here with Captain Alex Gorichky. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Talking a lot about fishing around the fall mullet run time, and it's a big time, and Captain Alex is one of the best out of Port Canaveral, so hopefully you guys and gals will enjoy today's show. Welcome to another edition of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday to check out what's going on. I'm Captain Jim Ross. I'm your host of the show this morning. We're going to have the next 2 hours. We're going to be talking about a little bit of fishing, a little bit of hunting, too. We got a little bit of hunting stuff to talk about with you guys and gals. But it's been an interesting week, and I've got an interesting guest this morning. Captain Alex Gorichky's back in the studio. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you jumping in at the last minute here.
You know me. I'm always down.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Man, we have had, like I said, let off the show, which has been an interesting week.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very interesting week with the full moon,
the huge moon,
and then the water coming up, and it's like, we've had like a 12-inch deficit of rain all summer long, and the lagoon has been beautiful because we haven't had fresh water going into our saltwater lagoon. But now all of the little ponds and all of the little retention areas have all gotten full with the last, 14 days and 20 plus inches of rain we've had. So now they're all spilling into the lagoon, and we're seeing the effects of what happens when you put fresh water into a saltwater lagoon.
And specifically, not just fresh water, but runoff fresh water.
Yeah, not just rain dropping on it, but you're right. Months and months of drought has allowed a lot of contaminants
Build up.
Yeah, to build up and now be flushed into the lagoon. And wow, you can see it changing daily. I should say not changing, I should say degrading daily. And it's an unfortunate thing that's the way that we've built out this part of the beautiful coast of Florida. But the fresh water has to go somewhere if you're going to put 10,000 new homes in a place, and that water gets displaced into the wrong places sometimes, and it's flowing into the lagoon as hard as it can flow right now and wrecking what was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm not to go too far into it, but because I'll get too far.
We can go that far. We can go there, but, quick.
But it's a stark reminder, especially as we come into things like the sunset of this lagoon tax, and we're coming into almost 7-8 years past the beginning of the crash in the fall. A decade past. These are stark reminders of the work that didn't get done in the first place that still needs to be done today.
Right.
Because that stormwater influence of nitrogen and phosphorus is one of our largest problems.
Yeah.
And it was not properly dealt with as we grew. And when you don't deal with something in the first time, it's coming back to bite you, and you're going to have to fix it again.
Eventually, it has to be dealt with. At some point, it has to be dealt with.
That's projects like Pine Island Conservation Area, which is a water retention project. It happens to be that you can go fish out there, walk around, and trot your horse around, or do whatever you want to do. Veterans Center is a water retention project. It's meant to settle water, let the heavies and the nasties settle into a retention pond that can be cleared out, and if need be, if it goes too nasty. And then that water is allowed to flow into the lagoon in more of a naturalized state than just straight down the pipe and right out the hole.
That's the thing. That is, you nailed it, because
the swamp is a giant filter.
Right. Rain falls. Let's just take Brevard County. Okay? Rain falls on Brevard County, and there's no way for the rain to get to the lagoon. So it piles up and piles up and piles up. And the woods used to flood when there were woods in Brevard County. The woods used to flood. I can remember as a kid trying to literally ride my bike through almost seat deep water, where there are now not one but two subdivisions. And so that water would sit there
our yards were gushy, okay? There was a little water in the street once in a while, but the woods, it would run off, and the woods would contain that water for weeks. It would take weeks for it to settle down and settle out and filter its way to wherever the lowest spot was at the particular time. And we only had a handful of ditches that all that stuff could kind of eventually get to and then kind of run to the lagoon. But as we've grown out, like you said, we have paved over everything, so there's no more soft particulate for the rain to fall on and then seep through. It's nothing but tarmac and cement. It goes to the gutter goes to the storm drain goes to the lagoon for years. And so that was the demise and the crash in 2016. The crescendo, I guess you would say, the crescendo of bad engineering and poor planning on the government of this county's part.
It floated up right at our feet.
It lays squarely on the county government for allowing these things to be done, and not having the foresight to say, hey, we got to slow this down at some point. And they're still in that same mindset, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
However, because of the entire collapse of the lagoon system in March of 2016,
the visible collapse,
yes.
When
it
floated up at our feet.
People said, hey, why have all the animals in the lagoon, except for the porpoises and the manatees, and some of them died too.
Oh, yeah.
Because of toxicity levels. But why have all of the water-breathing animals in the lagoon died in a 48-hour period?
It's 2 days.
Why did everything die? From the Space Center to Mathers Bridge in the Banana River. Why did everything that was living in there die? And it wasn't until that question was asked by not just one or two Chicken Littles,
right,
like myself,
right,
and yourself,
myself,
if you were, we were guys going, hey, this is something's got to be done. It wasn't until the masses said, hey, how come everything's dying, that something was finally, especially people that live in Lansing Island and Tortoise Island and Cocoa Beach Canal systems, all of a sudden when your $1 or $2 or $3 million property has what looks like an apocalypse floating in the water behind it, and you start asking questions, answers start to be looked for.
Right.
Not maybe found yet, but they start to be looked for. And so you're right. The lagoon tax that's getting ready to be, we're going to be able to hopefully have a chance to vote on it again on the next referendum here in a year or two. The work that's been done has helped to mitigate that entire collapse of a lagoon system again. Now, we've had little micro chasms of fish kills here and there. We've had algae blooms and different things. But overall, the work that has been done and is continuing at this point, and that continues to need to be done over the next 10 years to help mitigate the rainwater that used to sit bicycle seat deep high in the woods right next to my house. Yep. That job needs to continue, and that lagoon tax is a huge part of making that happen.
And it's a dirty word.
Oh, it is.
Tax is a dirty word. And I get it. Believe me, I pay taxes.
So you know what, Alex?
I own a home. I
this is what I would love to see. I would love to see this happen. And it will never happen because it's not popular, like you said, because tax is a dirty word. I don't like taxes. You don't like taxes. We don't like taxes any more than we like paying for insurance. Okay?
I also don't like dead fish floating up in my entire river system.
Exactly. I was mentioning this yesterday. Nobody moved to Brevard County to live in a beige house next to another beige house that's beside another beige house. Nobody said, Nobody moved here from Philadelphia. Nobody moved here from Detroit. Nobody moved here from New York and said, that beige house is my dream home, and I can't believe that I have not lived in it before. Nobody moved here for a beige house.
Oh.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen. It happens to be where you reside, and your HOA mandates that you can't paint it pink or green or purple or whatever other color, okay, that you might desire to paint it. But that beige house isn't the reason that you moved to Brevard County.
Nope.
It's the lagoons. It's the flora and fauna that we have here. It's the beauty of this place. And so I would like to see a council person, a person running for county commissioner, or even local, even just, the cities, just, the municipalities, Titusville, Cocoa Beach, Cocoa, Rockledge, Melbourne. I would like to see the people that are running for those positions not just saying, hey, we need to kind of do something about the lagoon and I'm going to look at ways to help. I want to see somebody standing on that soapbox saying, I'm the guy or I'm the gal that is going to make or at least push for responsible change within my community. And when that starts to happen, you'll see it. But in the meantime, things died, okay? Yeah. Things died, and so the EPA and the DEP, and they start coming in and going, well, maybe you can't pipe the storm water straight into the lagoon anymore. You got to put a retention pond here so that it goes into that first, and then it can go into the lagoon. Well, it's a start.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there's been a lot of that done with the Save Our, lagoon tax money, that Sorrel money. So, long story short, where does it all end? Everybody wants to move here because it's a great place. It's a beautiful place.
Right.
But how do we do that responsibly without absolutely trashing the
what's
place?
left?
Yeah, because there's not a lot left.
No.
There's not a lot left.
Not when you look at it over the stretch of 40, 50 years.
And I look at places like I was in Miami for 2 days. Okay, I look at places like Miami and I just go, what in the heck? What the heck? Why would you want to build out this much, this densely, and why would anybody want to move to a place like this when you have places like we have here that are obviously much better? So I'm kind of answering my own question.
Yeah.
Is that people don't necessarily want to live in a big city. Sometimes they have to. And sometimes small towns become big cities. So, but doing it responsibly is the way to go. So the one thing that I've looked at here recently is, the amount of water coming into the lagoon. And you saw, for anybody that was on the water this week, we're on the water every day this week, basically. I was on the water Monday, Thursday, Friday. Justin was on the water Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, today.
Right.
It's been a week of, okay, where can I go that I'm not being detrimentally impacted by the effects of rainwater that is now entering the lagoon? How do I do that? And in going back to the rainwater thing, sewage is a huge part of that, and septic is a huge part of that. And one of the things that's really, really cool that has happened in the Keys, and I just went on Wednesday, I went to Isla Mirada. You look at the way the water around Isla Mirada had gotten 15 years ago, and then they said, you know what? We need to do something about this. Yep. And they took everybody that was in the Keys was kind of on septic, or for the most part was on septic. They put every single occupant of the Keys, every single motel, hotel, resort, restaurant, everybody is now on sewer. And they built sewage facilities that are big enough to handle the amount of affluent coming at them. So,
and is there still problems?
Oh yeah. You still got a little bit of runoff.
Do you still have issue here and there? Yes. Yeah. But as a whole, that change makes a giant difference. It's hard for some people to, or for people in times to grasp the concept of the water table.
Yes.
The rise in the lagoon that we've seen over the last week and a half, 2 weeks.
Water's come up 2 foot.
Same thing's happening under your feet in the ground.
In the ground. Yeah.
So all of that stuff gets migrated out to the lowest points, which are the lagoon, and that rise in that water table draws everything down in.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Well, so we're going to talk about the effects of the water on the lagoon, how we've had to deal with it, and where we've found fish. But in the meantime, we need to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got a caller on the line. So don't go away. Captain Alex Gorichky and myself, Captain Jim Ross, are going to be right back after these messages. Captain Jim Ross and Captain Alex Gorichky in the house. We want to let you know this segment of the show is brought to you by Lamb Deck. So make sure you stop up at Lamb Deck. If you need any kind of EVA non-skid decking, they are the guys to go to in the Canaveral area. And they also do rigging on your boat. They do wire electronics. They have cutters. You know, when you have those acrylic console faces, there's not a lot of places that can properly cut that. And some people just back away from it because they're like, if I crack that thing, that's $300 or $400. I have to replace that out of my pocket. They have the proper cutters to be able to cut acrylic to put your electronics in, your VHF, your stereo systems, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you give them a call if you need any kind of rigging done, and especially if you need some EVA non-skid, because it is the deal. 321-505-4888. That's Lamb Deck up in Titusville. Hey, we're going to go to the phone lines. We got Captain Jeff Kranick on the line. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, guys.
How we doing today, buddy?
We are out here fighting mosquitoes and heat and no-see-ums. The opener of the 9-day early teal and wood duck season.
Early teal is on. You got no-see-ums and mosquitoes?
Yes.
Well,
we got all three of us with cigars because
I was going to say is if you get the deer flies rolling in, you'll have the trifecta.
Yeah.
Who you got with you today?
Tyler and Jake.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Blair took a ride last late afternoon all the way to the Oakhead and back. Didn't see any ducks in there. So he decided I think he's snook fishing today.
Yeah, we got absolutely destroyed by those fish yesterday. So hopefully
nice.
Hopefully he brought the big gear and he can pull them out of there. No, I had 30-pound braid and 50-pound leaders, and they just treated us like we were rented mules.
You know, Blair and I were out cast netting some mullet last weekend. I'm checking one of my spots and off the beaten path, and I think we had 3 breakoffs.
Yeah.
Using 40. Yeah, they were going right underneath the mangroves on it. Some really big snook.
Well, the water's so high right now that the second they hit, they come out to the edge and they eat, and then they just crochet your fishing line through the mangrove roots because they can get back in there 10 or 12 feet, down in the Sebastian area.
Hold on.
Get them.
Pull. Low guy.
Pull.
Take it. Splash 2 wood ducks.
Nice. So is it one per person on woods during the early season, or can you keep more?
It's 4. And
4
you're only out of the 9-day season. You can only 2. I'm sorry. Out of the 9-day season, you can only hunt them for the first 5 days.
Interesting.
Well, that was kind of a give back to the feds. But there's a lot of states up north that don't have wood ducks in their early teal season.
Gotcha.
So they said, well, we'll just cut it in half, basically, and try to make the northern guys happy.
Nice. So who made the shot?
Both of them. You guys each got one, right? Yep.
Nice.
Now we could limit out on 3. We could have limited out already on tree ducks. They are just all over the marsh.
But you can't hunt. You can't hunt those those black belly ducks in early season.
Talking to some of the area biologists, they might put in some paperwork with the feds to allow us to hunt them during early teal also.
Oh, okay. Now, I got a question for you, Jeff. So we've seen a huge increase in the population of the black belly whistlers or black belly tree ducks. And are they displacing anything else, or are they coinciding with everything else?
Well, the worry was when their population started to explode about 15 years ago, that they were going to take up the same holes that the wood ducks are using, and it didn't come to be. If there's a wood duck box and they could fit into it, they'll use it. But the birds typically either like the floating tussocks or the tops of dead palm trees.
Interesting.
So, but they don't think at this point that they're having an effect on the local ducks, which they're considered local ducks now. They kind of remind me of the geese that we used to shoot up in Ohio during the resident. I used to go out on Thanksgiving morning and bag a fresh Canada goose for dinner that afternoon. So, and they're bigger birds because they sit around in backyards like yours and eat corn all year.
Yeah, they get nice and fat.
When they hit the ground, it feels, you could feel the shake on some.
There's an impact on the Richter scale.
Yeah.
Look at the thighs.
I got some other good news from the guys down at TM Goodwin. We just had there's two woodies out front lining the tree line. They were unable since March to manipulate the water down in Goodwin proper.
Right.
Well, they got the pumps back from the repair shop. Guys, they're swinging around. They got the pumps back from.
Hopefully they come back to you.
They haven't decided yet. They got the pumps back, and the electrician will be out there Monday to wire them all up. And St. John's gave them the okay to start dumping water into the marsh, so that there might be some hope for Goodwin proper for this season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that I saw online everybody that drew it seemed like everybody that drew a Goodwin tag turned it back in.
Well, you actually drew the Broadmoor or a Goodwin tag for this morning, and
yeah.
I called the biologist, and Craig said, "Turn it back in."
Yeah. So we did that.
Myself.
But when I went online to look, it looked like there was a lot of people that did exactly what I did and turned their Goodwin ticket back in.
Yep. Also, some good news is they got the cookie cutter. The looks like a paddle wheel boat, but the paddle wheel's up front.
Yeah.
So they're going to get in and cut some holes in the Goodwin reservoir, and then back it up with some spraying. So.
Okay. Well, as long as they don't go crazy with the cheese whiz like they did on the St. John's last year. Right in the middle of the season. I mean, I was like, good grief, what are they out here spraying in the middle of duck season for? Especially when the food was, the quality of the water and the food there for the ducks was incredible, and they came in and nuked the place right in the middle of it. It's like, really? Why would you do it now?
They sometimes they take advantage of good weather. A lot of people don't realize what it goes into spraying. And I'm not talking about the indiscriminate guys that are up and down the river all day like that, but it's one of those battles we're not going to win.
Yeah, they need the water to flow, and so unfortunately, you got to create channels to do that.
We're hoping, unlike everybody else, we're hoping it continues to rain and the water stays up. We hit one of our favorite spots in the marsh last weekend, and out of 20 holes, only 2 of them were open. The rest went so dry up there that everything filled in, so we need the water just to rot the grass back.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you got a couple of wood ducks this morning. Is that the first 2 you shot?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm being a novice duck hunter.
Here we go. This could be your 4th season. Come on.
But I'm talking about. I'm pretty novice, right? One day a year is not what I would consider to be a seasoned duck hunter. Can you call in a wood duck?
You can, but most of the wood ducks here are. Well, let me back up. It's interesting. through the banding program, they figured out that our wood ducks, for some reason, go down to Lake Okeechobee, and then the migrating wood ducks kind of fill in here. They don't know why they do that, but they just do. And that, that was all from the banding program that they figured that out.
Interesting.
I was talking to John Webb with FWC yesterday afternoon, and throughout the entire state, they banded almost 750 birds this season.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And, of course, being down here, a lot of them were here in Brevard and Indian River County. They did a bunch of banding up in or down at the STAs and the Everglades.
Okay.
And then this week they were up in the Gainesville area, and that's going to be the last of the banding.
Gotcha. Well, buddy, we are up against a break. Hopefully those ducks keep flying for you, and you get a couple of teal to go with those wood ducks that you got down. How does somebody get a hold of you if they want to go do some coastal sportsmaning?
Facebook, Captain Jeff Kranick on the business page is Coastal Sportsman on Facebook, and then you've got the Coastal Sportsman on the website. Just give me a call.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the shout this morning. Appreciate you letting us know how bad the bugs are in the marsh, and hopefully they don't chew you up before you get a limit.
That's all right. We're out here for another half an hour. As soon as the sun breaks out of those clouds, we're out of here.
Gotcha. All right. Well, take care, buddy.
You too.
Alrighty,
Good talking to you, Alex.
Yes, indeed.
All righty. Bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more Catch the Memory, so don't go away. Welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch the Memory Outdoors. I'm Captain Jim Ross. Captain Alex Gorichky is in the studio with me this morning.
Yes, indeed.
And we got to let you know that it's time to talk about a little Sun State pest management because we've got pest problems. I had some roaches in my garage. They have found their way in, so I got Sun State coming out next week. Give me a little tune up.
The old squirt, get it
there
done.
There we go. The nice thing about it is that I don't have to keep insecticide around my house. My animals can't really get into it. My kids can't get into it. And the product they apply has lasting power, if you will.
Right.
You can get you a can of spray and spray. Oh, there's one.
Right. And
he twirls around, sprayed roach, right? Twirls around, and he's dead. Well, the stuff they put down just works for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it's good stuff. Give them a call. Sun State Pest Management, taking care of all your pest problems. 800-783-7378. That's 1-800-783-7378. Get the bugs back outside and out of your house. We're going to the phone lines. We got Captain Mike Mann on the line. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you today?
We're doing fantastic, bud. Doing fantastic. How's the water treating you this morning?
Well, I got my bait. I pulled up to the dock. My client was sitting there, and he was kind of walking like death's door. He goes, I can't fish today with my back's out. Hands me an envelope and gets back in his car. I said, well,
oh, man.
All right. I'm like, well, okay. A paid day for me to go fishing.
He didn't,
so I'm out here.
He didn't even want to even give it a shot, huh?
No, and, he's 82 years old. His
understood.
grandson was supposed to come, and the grandson basically bailed on him this morning. He's like, look, you're already here. You caught bait. He goes, it's been one thing. And he's a regular of mine. He's a great guy, and I hope he gets better soon because he loves the tarpon. But to be honest with you, he may have picked a good day to cancel because I don't know what these tarpon are going to do with this north wind and high tide.
Well, I can tell you what they did yesterday on me. They RUNNOFT.
Nice.
They run off.
They run off.
They done did run off.
They run off on me. But the trout turned on. That was a good thing. That Alex and I were talking about, north wind and it feeling a little cooler. It's not 82 this morning. It's 74 this morning here.
Dry air.
Yeah,
almost.
little. It's not 97% humidity. It's only 93%. So, yes.
The water temperature's at a good, water temperature's 84 here in the lagoon. And,
yep.
And I've had I wouldn't say a good week, but I've had an okay week on tarpon. Got a couple every day I fish for them, but they just have been a lot of them around. A typical full moon-itis. You're coming off the full moon, and yep, there's the moon in the sky right now, and it makes funky tides. It makes, especially if you throw in some funky late September weather. it it can make it a little more challenging. And I'd like to have been on the beach today, but I got a feeling the beach can be a little bit rough.
Well, I was listening to it, and the swell sounds great. It's like 2-3 foot at 9 or 10 seconds. It's that 3 or 4 foot cross chop at 5 seconds that didn't really excite me very much.
Yeah,
Tends to get you.
Yeah, just a little.
yeah, and especially if the bait fish is up tight to the shoreline.
Yep.
You I don't like getting in that swell zone or that wave crash zone.
Hey, Mike,
Unless I'm on my surfboard.
tarpon notwithstanding, how was the rest of your bite this week? Because I found it to be where I fished.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to. There was a lot of ciphering, this week about trying to figure out where to go and what to do because we had very, very different water quality from day to day to day in the central part of the lagoon system. It's amazing how it has changed so quickly. But overall, the bite was pretty darn good, considering we're just coming off of this full moon.
Yeah, I haven't done really anything but tarpon fishing this week.
Okay.
But as soon as I decide that tarpon don't want to play and I get a little bit of sunlight, I'm going to slide up into the flats and do a little scouting for my trip tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Which will be redfish and trout. But what I normally throw this time of year, we got a lot of bait fish moving around. If you get a day like I think tomorrow we're supposed to have a little overcast, put a top water on and put a paddle tail on and get one guy throwing one and one guy throwing the other and see which one produces the most. Because, this can be a great time with the high water. You can get into areas that you haven't fished that typically it's not enough water for you to get in and fish. And that's where you're going to find some fish. As the water gets higher, the fish move into places where it was not to their liking before, especially with the cooler water temperatures.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Water's really high right now. I mean, the dock at Kelly Park in Banana River on Monday, when I left the dock, it was about an inch below the top of the dock. When I got back, it was flush with the boards. And the next day, it was completely underwater by an inch and a half or two. So just the Banana River came up in, let's say, a 24-hour period. It came up 3 inches.
Yeah, we got some pretty heavy easterlies coming, too, tomorrow afternoon.
And lots of
Monday,
rain,
Tuesday.
lots of rain coming into, lots of water flowing into the lagoon right now.
So,
well, the good news with all this high water is it's not from rain. We've had rain, but not enough to raise the water this high. This is all tidal push, which is a good thing.
Well, where you are.
Yeah, where I am.
Because we've had about 20 or 22 inches down here, and it is flowing into the lagoon, unfortunately.
Yeah, see, up here we've had a little bit of rain, but nothing that significant.
Yeah.
Edgewater got a lot of rain a few days ago and had some flooding, but, the water was already up high. We had that east wind, and it was pushing a lot of water in. And so it's not, super dirty up here. At least once I get in the flats, I'll let you know in a little while. I'll let you know what it looks like in the flats. But it's, the fall is coming. You can feel it in the air, that's for sure today.
Yeah, it feels like still summer.
Yep.
It's not summer anymore. We've now transitioned. We're into still summer.
Still summer,
but still summer is 5 degrees cooler than summer. So
yeah,
I'll take it.
Which is a huge change. When you get out in the morning and you can catch your bait and you're wet from throwing the cast net, not from sweat, that's a good thing.
My wife says yesterday when I got home, she says, "Well, how was it?" And I said, "Well, it's still summer." And she goes, "You got that right." And I'm like, "No, that's good. We had a change of season." And then she says, "Well, when is the first day of fall?" And I said, "December 19th."
Tomorrow.
First day of winter, December 20th.
January 3rd.
Yeah, January 3rd. Last day of winter, January 15th.
Well, buddy, we're going to let you go. We appreciate you tuning in and giving us a call here. How does somebody get a hold of you if they want to get out and do some fishing? Actually, you're already on the water. Can somebody call you right now and run down and jump on the boat with you?
They could.
How do they do that?
They can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. Follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Man with 2 N's, and on Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service. guys, I've got days open next week, a few days open. You can give me a call and get out here and have a little fun, whether you want to sight fish or tarpon fish or whatever it may be.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks so much for the call this morning. Enjoy your day, and hopefully you get a last-minute phone call and somebody can meet you at the dock.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can be at JB's in 10 minutes.
There you go. All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, catch them up, guys. Thanks.
Bye now. Yeah, that's unfortunate when you get a customer and he's just not feeling up to it.
Sometimes I can't do it.
It happens.
That's a pretty classy move on a customer's part, though, to show up in the morning and say, hey, I just can't do it, but here you go. And
I'm not going to make it today.
Yeah.
Got a lot of guys on the Facebook feed this morning saying good morning. Want to say good morning back to everybody else. Butch McCoy has a question for you. He says, good morning, Jimmy and Alex. Any news on the poo?
Mm-hmm.
He meant pompano.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I found
I
found one.
And I found one, too. As Jim Ross was putting it in a bucket, I saw a sickle tail and came running over, hound dogging him.
Yeah. So Alex is so focused in on pompano that I am literally across the parking lot, and he picks it out. I saw a forked tail, he yells across the parking lot. I saw a forked tail.
You don't get them by me, that's for sure. Actually, I did a post on my social media a couple days ago. I was running the fluid beds, doing some jig coloring and getting the jigs ready. It's time. We did have some pop up here and there, and I actually went and looked pretty hard for a couple days and never really found anything yet. But you can see the difference in the water right now out front, at least for us. I don't know what it's like if you get down towards Sebastian and stuff.
It's
but
still a little dirty down there yesterday.
It's that green, not like the clean green, but the dark green up north water. The water's starting to shift. The winds are starting to shift.
Right.
We're coming off of a couple days of now north wind.
Yeah.
Going to come into a couple days of heavy east. All that stuff gets that, that's a migration that we're waiting for with that fish. No different. Yeah, no different than the mullet run. Yeah. It's the same exact thing. It's just a bigger, flatter, shinier mullet.
Yeah.
They do this. It's the same route almost, same route as our tarpon in the summer. They slide up and then they slide back down as it cools down. So those triggers, as soon as they pop, and it's ready to happen. Can't wait. We've been seeing some sand fleas around too, which is nice. Yeah. I've had some hanging in a bag in my live well for now probably 2.5 weeks. So they
where did you find sand fleas?
Actually, they've been pretty much everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. If you stop and the higher tides seem to be a little better than the lower tides, which that can change at any point.
Right.
You want to try to figure out an animal, try to figure out a sand flea. It's like trying to figure out a shrimp. You wonder why it takes, one night the shrimp will flow and you got a 5-gallon bucket in 2 minutes and, you're mopping them up like it's no tomorrow, and you go the next 17 nights and catch 7 the whole time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It just happens because they do what they do. But it's good to see not just like real large ones and not just a whole bunch of babies, but a wide range.
Okay.
And it seems like hopefully the last route or round of beach renourishment down south didn't delete everything. Kind of like, for some reason, the couple of those shots in beach renourishment we had, it was like it didn't matter where you were. If you were miles from the beach, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll hold out a little bit.
Well, I've noticed that with all of the heavy swell that we've had lately, the water is dirty because of it, but it's not as dirty as it was back in April, May, and June, when we didn't have any swell.
Right.
And just the normal beach activity created just mud, just miles of mud. And now we've had a little heavier swell, and I think some of the dirt has been washed out, and there is a little bit of sand left in place, which is nice because fish don't like dirt. Sand fleas don't like dirt. Dirt is for moles.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt is for earthworms. It's not to be put on the beach. And unfortunately, this year we put it all over the beach.
And that's the natural process.
Yeah.
stripping of the light.
It's like panning for gold.
Stripping of the light and leaving the heavy. The heavy's what's in the impact zone. That's how, when you don't do this to areas, you can have gin clear water and 10-foot waves.
Yeah.
Because the heavy's in the impact zone. The light gets stripped out and becomes the muck on the bottom in 25 foot of water.
Yep.
And that's how the natural process works until we throw shovels of dirt
Until
on
we
it.
throw dirt on where the sand's, and where we throw light stuff where the heavy stuff is supposed to be, right? Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. We got a whole lot more, so don't go away. Anyway, we're going to get back to Butch's question here in just a second. So don't go away. We've got a lot of stuff coming at you right here on Catch a Memory. This segment of the show is brought to you by Engel Coolers. Make sure that you stop in at engelcoolers.com or your local Engel retailer and check out all the cool stuff. It's hunting season, right? So it's time. I just got a new 123 in tan.
Ooh.
Put a little doe meat in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So needed something for the bed of the truck. Needed something a little bigger than my 80. I didn't want to pull my 80 out of my boat. I'm like, yep, need something a little bigger. So we got the 123, and it's a nice one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to putting some freezer meat in it. And my good buddy Daryl McCall has invited me up. In fact, is it next week? It might be next week I'm going. I don't know. I've been running around like a sprayed roach, so back and forth from here to Miami to Alamorada to back to Miami to here to Sebastian I've been all over the place.
The rest for the wicked.
No. But you know the thing we were talking about, Alex, is with the pompano.
Right.
So on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. I fished Monday. Monday, I fished the Banana River. Water everywhere I went was like super clean, really, really sight fishable, bait everywhere. There was a redfish explosion on Monday. I do not remember. I came home and I told Justin, I was like, I haven't seen this many redfish in the Banana River in the last 4 trips combined. If you took all the redfish I saw and put them together, I saw more today. Plus, I got on a school of spawners. 40-plus inch. There was about 50, maybe 60 of them in the school. So that was good to see. Because it is that time of year. And typically, in 2010, 2012, even 2013, 14, we would have schools of 500 and 600 spawners that got together to spawn. Well, the Banana River has got at least one school of spawners. I honestly just totally lucked up on them. I was chasing jacks. We were racing, running and gunning, chasing the jacks, because the jacks right now are 5 to 15 pounds in that central part of the Banana River system. And they're racing 15, 20 mile an hour racing across the lagoon. And so if you guys and gals get out there and you see those birds working real heavy and diving and dipping in there, there's a big pack of them. They're flying just like you would see if you were chasing tuna offshore or dolphin, like down in the Keys. They run and gun from bird pack to bird pack off Miami too. If you see that happening in the lagoon, get your topwaters out and get in front of the pack, because it is instant hookup on whatever you throw out there. And I'm throwing big chuggers. I like to throw big chuggers and big topwaters. And so anyway, I'm racing. We get a couple of jacks hooked up, take some pictures, unhook them, jump back on the boat, jump back on the throttle. Wow, run around, get way out in front of them again, let them come to us, shut down. They're coming as fast as they can come. Boom, 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 boom. Get hooked up. Pulled 2 off. Landed 1. Go to crank back up again, and off to my left, as these fish are running, sort of on my right.
Right.
So I'm going to make a big loop up and around. Off to my left, it was slick calm. I see a shake in the water. I'm like, well, that was weird. So I shut down, put the trolling motor over, start going over to it. Woo! School of redfish, school of 40 inchers. And they were happy.
Right.
And I like happy fish.
Yeah.
Happy fish that are hungry, that's the best kind. And if they're big, that's even better.
Right.
So we found, something that I hadn't personally seen really a school of spawners in about 2 years. And the last school I saw was the Mosquito Lagoon / Northern Indian River School about 2 years ago. In the fall, and that was a very short-lived thing. They didn't stick around for months on end like they typically do. They didn't start grouping in August and were solid through September, and then started waning after the full moon in October, which is the general pattern. So anyway, redfish on Monday. Redfish was the fish on Monday. Had some trout, had some jacks too, but I was surprised at the number of redfish. Justin goes out Tuesday. He's like, I can't hardly find a redfish. He goes, he went every place I want to show. I went here, 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 and here. He went to all those places with his people, and he's like, yeah, we caught 3. He goes, and I only saw 5.
Right.
You know, so it was, but he caught more trout. The trout kind of turned on, and he goes, and the water is getting dirty, and like not dirty, but green dirty.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean the green? He goes, it's got algae in it. So on Wednesday, he went to the Indian River and we've been fishing this school of tarpon, just the South Rockledge area. We've been fishing the school of tarpon and jacks.
Right.
And he said he just got catfished. It was sail cat after sail cat after sail cat. He says, we got 1 jack, no tarpon, and 22 sail cats.
God.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's the problem with fishing around the tarpon, is that the sail cats are there.
And the bigger baits, just those sail cats go, oh, that's the most lovely
well,
thing I've seen
The
all
problem
day.
is the sail cats, you know, normally they're 3, 4, 5 pounds.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
these
yeah.
are all 6 and 7 and 8-pound sail cats. They're gigantic sail cats, and so they're eating tarpon baits. So I called him when he got off the water, and he was frustrated. He was like, I've never had this much slime to deal with in my life, I think, you know. But lines are slimed up.
Everything.
Everything's slimed up. You just catfish slime everywhere. So he was in less than a spectacular mood, if you know what I mean. So Thursday, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I do? And so I said, well, I'm going to go back with what I did Monday and just look and see. So I did. So Thursday, I get out there, and every spot that I went to, the water looked horrible.
Yeah.
You could see the impacts of the rainwater coming in, and how it had changed a really, really good looking stretch of water and a good pattern of fish. My first 2 spots, we didn't get a bite, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And so I start looking. So here's the thing, guys and gals, when you're getting out on the water, I went Monday, I went Thursday. You get out on the water, and you do this every day, Alex.
Yep.
You look at the water. I'm looking, and I'm like, well, there's no bait here anymore. There's no bait here anymore. Where is everything? What's going on? And so it falls back to, where's the bait?
Right.
You know, it really does.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, the bait's all out in the middle of the lagoon system, basically. So that's what we did, is we fished the middle of the lagoon, and we hit the bridges.
Right.
Because the water's deeper. It's less likely to be impacted by the fresh water that's coming off of the banks. It's out in the middle of the lagoon. And that's where we found our bite, was around the bridges and the deeper drop-offs, the depressions and the holes. And fortunately, you know, we got pompano, bluefish, a bunch of mangrove snappers.
Right.
Some pretty
nice ones too. Yeah.
Trout. We did have some redfish. I think we had 3 redfish that day we put back. But so you have to look at what the weather is doing, what the water's doing, and where the bait is, and formulate a game plan for yourself. And don't be afraid, guys and gals. Don't be afraid to call an audible at the last second and say, hey, this isn't working. I need to do something totally different. And take a big swing. I mean a big swing, and change your game plan. And I know, Alex, you are a very methodical, very forward-thinking kind of a guy when it comes to that process as well. Because I see you pick up and run. I got to burn some fuel because this ain't happening.
Got to. Yep.
So,
well, I mean, a great example of that is what we've come to now find with the side scan. Honestly, with the groups of fish on the jetties is a great example. You know, forever we just pull up to the jetty and throw bait at the jetty and hope a fish hit. You know, now we realize there's thousands of fish, hundreds of yards off the jetty, swimming around that we never even, and until we had that kind of break in technology, that gave us that advantage. But there's a lot out there that you just don't even ever kind of see or process. And unless you kind of sniff around a little bit, it's the being able, I think one of the biggest things about being a guide and supposedly being consistent, catching a lot of fish or whatever is just the consistently being on the water and seeing it in the different phases and the different, you went, this isn't right. Something's not good here. Let's change it up. Deeper water.
Well, here's how we get success.
Right.
We have more opportunities than the average angler does because we're on the water 10 times more. But that also equates to 10 times more failures, okay? Because every single day we have failures.
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, we had failures. Every day this week we had failures, and we had to say, okay, this is not working.
Yep.
It's supposed to be working. In my mind, I want it to work, but I can't will it into being. I can't will it to work. And so I've got a failure here, and I'm like, a failure here. Now I'm 3 spots deep. I hit A spot, B spot, and C spot. I've had 3 straight failures. I gotta call a serious audible. I gotta make a big change. And so because of those failures that we have, I think the thing that we do, we recognize the failure faster.
Yeah.
I think that's the advantage that we truly have. It's yes, we're being on the water, but we're realizing
This isn't working.
this isn't what we need to be doing. We need to do something different. And so having those failures makes us more consistent fishermen because we know that we can't continue to sit in the same spot and catch nothing.
Yep.
We have to produce. So yeah, you're exactly right. You are exactly right. You got to find the right conditions, and technology helps you do that. But sometimes it's just, hey, I just need to burn some fuel.
First part of the technology is your eyeballs.
Exactly. Well, guys and gals, the first hour of Catch a Memory is over with. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we got a caller on the line, so don't go away. Welcome back, Captain Jim Ross and Captain Alex Gorichky, kicking off the second hour of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning to see what's going on right here. And Captain Alex has been a huge wealth of knowledge this morning. We're going to delve deeper into Alex's mind after we get off of this phone call from Miss Lisa Fitzgerald from CCA. How are we doing this morning, Lisa?
Well, good morning, Captain Jim. Good morning, Captain Alex. Doing fantastic. Gearing up for the 10th annual CCA Florida Star presented by Yamaha annual award ceremony. And I understand we're not going to have the honor of your presence, so I'm heartbroken.
I'm not going to be able to make it this year. I'm kind of heartbroken, too. It's such a great event.
Well, we're celebrating 10 years of being Florida's largest family-friendly fishing competition.
Yeah.
We're going to round out awarding nearly $4 million in prizes over those 10 years, with $1 million of that being college scholarships.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I have to give a huge kudos to the industry organizations that and businesses that have supported this competition, because without them, we would not be able to engage so many people in understanding the conservation initiatives that CCA has implemented, bringing youth into the sport. And it just really is a testament to how something so simple can make such a huge impact. Think about it. A fishing competition has brought in hundreds of thousands of people to the awareness of what is going on with our fisheries, and taking kids that have never held a fishing rod in their life in their hands, going out and fishing and winning college scholarships. I mean, it's really a unique concept, and imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I see so many other organizations and individuals duplicating our tournament, but I guess that, as they say, there's no duplicating the original.
Exactly.
So they called me crazy 10 years ago when I said, this is going to be a catch photo tournament and we're going to have thousands of people that fish it. And we do. So you actually had some of the gals who fished with you win some really great prizes.
Oh, I have. Yeah. I've had a lot of people that have fished with me that have had some really good results from. But
Amy
it's the fact that
all
they
those
caught
guys.
the fish, Lisa. It's not the fact that it was a tagged redfish or a tagged dolphin. It wasn't that. It was just another fish that they were able to put into a conservation effort or into the general inshore, general offshore, and it's a luck of the draw. I mean, but
that is it.
But
It
you can't
takes
get
skill.
lucky. You can't get lucky if you don't catch the fish, though. So that's
right.
been the benefit.
That's right. And October the 12th in Crystal River, our award ceremony presented by Discover Crystal River is going to be at a cool venue. It is called Sweet Citrus Acres. If any of your listeners have an RV and they go to Crystal River, they need to check out this place. Their clubhouse is old Florida. You'd love it. It's got trophies on the wall. It's poolside. Behind it is a big lake where you can catch bass. I mean, this place is gorgeous. It's big. It's got an expansive bar, so we have open bar. It is just going to be a fun night of celebrating all of the winners, but everybody who attends is going to be a winner because the swag bag is out of this world. We are providing in the swag bag a custom long sleeve performance shirt from Sodium Fishing Gear, a tumbler, now not a plastic tumbler, but one of those cool metal tumblers that has the slide close-on lid that keeps your drinks cold for 24 hours, from Paddle Tails Waterfront Lodge. We have fish bites. We have all kinds of cool things from Bull Bay Rods, Florida Fishing Products, all kinds of really cool stuff in the swag bag from all of our different sponsors. And it's just going to be a fun night. Live entertainment, great raffles and auctions. I mean, think about it. Florida Insider Fishing Report is offering what they're calling an East-West package. So someone who in the live auction bids on this East-West package, they get to choose from the Florida Insider Fishing Report captains, an East Coast captain and a West Coast captain to fish with.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Is that not cool? I mean, Captain Mike Anderson is donating a trip, Captain Blair Wiggins, Captain Jay Withers. There are so many cool auction items, and it's all to support conservation and youth. We have introduced over 5,000 new youth anglers to the sport of fishing, and over the 10 years, that's $1 million in college scholarships, and I have some of those college scholarship winners who have used their scholarship money coming to the event so you can hear where they've gone. One of them is already working for FWC in their policies division. Mm-hmm. So there's some really cool kids who are now adults who have benefited from this. And
that's interesting you say that, Lisa, because here's a person, an adult now, working for FWC that grew up under a conservation-oriented scenario. So they should have a really good understanding of what is needed as far as policy is concerned to be able to get things right, because we see it on a national level with red snapper as an example, sharks as an example, things that have been so mismanaged. It would be nice to have people that have grown up on the water and understand the fishery a little better rather than just, applying for the position because it's a paying job kind of a thing, and truly have their heart in the right place to make the right policies.
And, I have always said this, and gosh, I'm going to tell you, I'm trying to think how many years ago this was. I'm going to say 15 years ago, I came across an organization in the Chicago area called the Max McGraw Foundation. Mm-hmm. And they have a program where when biologists and individuals who come out of mainstay education, where they get a book smart education, but have no hands-on experience in the outdoor world, they have an entire program of almost like a community college that gets you hands-on experience with wildlife.
Interesting.
And, well, you know, oftentimes what we have is a research biologist or someone who's going into a field who's gotten a degree from college but has never spent a couple of hours out in a field or sat in a tree or gone out on the water fishing. You know, just look at some of the, you know, different states that have commissioners that are making decisions on policies, but they've never picked up a gun.
Right.
Or
right.
they've never picked up a fishing rod, or they're making a decision on an area that they've never visited and don't understand the dynamics of the fishing area.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I'm going to get off my soapbox, sorry, but it really is something that CCA, that, you know, when we talk about people that we want to put in positions, we want to put people there that have the background, not just the book smarts, but the background
and boots on the ground background.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. So, you know, got off topic. Sorry about that.
No, I just find that that's really interesting that here you've had a child that grew up fishing and won a sponsorship or a scholarship, and utilized that scholarship to then go into a profession that would take that passion they had and be able to utilize that information as a daily job. I think that's great. We need more of that.
Yep.
That's what we need.
And that's what we have. Another one of our youth scholarship winners from your area is going to the Fort Myers Water School, FGCU, and his plan is to become involved in conservation, and he won 4 $5,000 scholarships from us, and we're funding part of his education so that he can go into environmental stewardship. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And when I talk to these kids, Jim, they tell me, I want to be a fishing captain. I want to be an FWC officer. I want to be, a biologist. I want to do what you do, what I do. And I'm like, oh, no, you don't want to do what I do. But I will tell you, it has been the highlight not only of the award ceremony, but also of my job to talk to these parents and find out how passionate these kids are about and how they have become passionate about fishing. But more importantly, how they are teaching, they go to a pier or a dock or they get on a boat with their friends and they're teaching them the conservation thread. So you have it in your heart, not just it's something you say. It is truly becoming a passion for them.
Exactly.
And they go, Mom, we caught a fish. Now let's go pick up trash.
Yeah,
And
let's do something good for the environment.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm seeing less and less garbage, and I'm watching more and more people when they're walking from their truck to go get on their boat at the boat ramp. They're picking up trash along the way and dropping it in the garbage can. I'm seeing boats stopping on the water, picking up trash. It really instills some
makes me happy. Just makes me happy.
Yes. So
Well,
I hope that we can get people to the award ceremony on October the 12th at Sweet Citrus Acres. It's presented by Discover Crystal River. It's inexpensive. You get dinner, live entertainment, complimentary drinks, and you get the opportunity to do some amazing raffles, live and silent auctions. So
That's awesome.
I hope people will join us on October the 12th.
Well, we are looking forward to having a big crowd turn out there, and if something changes in my world, I'll let you know.
Well, I wish I had a helicopter. I'd fly over and get you, take you over, and then you could come back and take care of the dogs and the pony.
I can do that. If you find somebody with a helicopter, I'm willing. Well, Lisa.
Well, get Captain Rick to fly you over.
There you go.
But I just wanted to say one more thing, if I may, if we have time.
Yep.
The winning has not stopped since Star is over. You know this, right?
We still have packages available.
Remember, if you get registered now for 2025 Star and you catch one of the previous year's tagged redfish, and it's happening all over the state, but they're not registered, if you catch a 2024 fish or one of the years past, you win a $1,000 prize package from Engel Coolers.
Yeah. Yep, that's fantastic. Well, Lisa, how does somebody get tickets to the event?
So they can go to the website at www.ccaflstar.com. On the home page, right there, it will say buy your tickets.
Awesome.
So it's a little red tab. Click on it, and you can buy your tickets. If you want to get registered for the 2025 Star, our phone number is 844-387-7827. And if you can't manage to buy your tickets online, you can call that 844 number, and Andrea will get you your tickets right over the phone.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for the call and for all you do, Lisa.
Well, thank you, Jim, and thanks for the support. And tell Robin I said hello. Alex, catch him up. Very impressed with listening this morning to all the initiatives that you're talking about. One little tidbit that I would throw in there, when we have those failures, remember using the same tactic over and over and expecting a different result is called insanity.
Yes, it is.
Change your baits.
Yep, change it up. Change it up.
Spot to spot to spot using the same bait. Change it up. Look for something different.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, got a whole lot more, so don't go away. Captain Alex Gorichky and myself are going to be right back. Welcome back. We appreciate you every Saturday morning listening to what's going on. Just checking through, scrolling through the Facebook feed here. Shea Hobby says the water's really high right now up in Titusville area. Hopefully the water still looks good up there, though. It doesn't, with that northern rim, the only inputs is you got Flounder Creek, Arantua Ditch. You got it flowing out of the marsh, but Turnbull Creek is the main influencer up there. And unfortunately, Turnbull Creek comes out of some cow pasture and citrus areas. So when it starts flowing, it brings some kind of cruddy water into the north end. But hopefully the water, for the most part, is still looking good. I know he said a couple of weeks ago he was doing really good. There was snook and trout and tarpon and reds, and he was getting a good variety of fish. So hopefully we'll continue to see some decent water up that way. I wanted to let you know also. Let's see. We need to get back to the pompano thing because Butch had asked about the pompano. So I haven't really been looking for them. You've kind of been dabbling at it, or have you really put in some time?
A little bit of just a little. Here. Yeah, just because
okay.
It is water's still pretty on the warm side. So if you are finding those fish right now, most likely kind of almost resident fish.
Gotcha.
Sort of, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But first rule of the pompano fishing around here is as soon as you find them, you call Alex.
Yeah.
That's the first rule.
Rule number one of pompano.
Rule number one of pompano, Brevard County. If you find them, you call Alex Gorichky. Tell them exactly where they were. But as that water, cools and those fish want to stay in that envelope of happy water, and that envelope of happy water goes from being in the central eastern United States, the seaboard, to now off of us.
To us. Yeah.
That's when that mass of fish will push and go, and as those fish come down and fluctuate back north and back and in and down. They come into the lagoons, they come into the estuary and move out and come in and move out. And some of them stay and, end up being a random one caught, or you're running down a flat and all of a sudden they're shooting out of the water, skipping. And Those fish will move in and out of the lagoon system and stay pretty much throughout the summer. So you'll have resident groupings of fish, so to speak, that will, move their way around, pop back out to the beach. And, all of a sudden the guys around Sebastian that are beach fishing, that are still the holdouts, the summertime beach fishing guys, there ain't a whole lot of them, start banging them. And they're like, oh, wow, all the pompano are showing up. And most likely just a group of fish, maybe shifting in and out of the inlet or coming in and out. And, it's migratory patterns are insanely hard to lock down. And the
just
mullet,
when you think you've got it figured out, then they do something different again.
Well, this year, the mullet run so far, which honestly, from what we've had here in Canaveral, you can call it the mullet run for almost 3+ weeks.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
At least. Yeah. But if you notice, those mullet, they look like the little mullet we should be juvenile tarpon fishing with.
Yeah.
They're not the 5-inch, 6-inch.
They're mini
silvers. They're minis, and those fish are. We were talking about the triggers and what kicks those migrations off. Those fish are primed and ready. Something in their little fishy brain goes, I don't know what it is, but I feel something coming, and it's coming fast. And all it takes is just a little something to kick that in. And we had about 3 weeks ago, there was a cold front-ish that blended with a tropical-ish
and Hurricane Debbie.
And all that combined to not be a big nor'easter cold front, but enough of a feel like, oh, this is a difference. Oh, we're already jittery. And I believe a lot of that first part of the run we got wasn't necessarily the bread and butter that you're getting out of the Carolinas, out of the Chesapeake, and out of those areas where they're the full grown, we're moving. I think a lot of that was maybe some of the coastal Georgia, upper northern Florida, because as much as the guys throwing the nets would love to be filling their boats full of perfect finger mullet right now to go sell, I've seen them. They're sitting there picking their net because they've got all these they got not even throwing on balls of bait because it's not worth doing.
No, exactly.
And that's, but yet again, that kind of, in my opinion, combination of weather influences triggered what was already lying under the surface, which is the sun's already getting a little lower in the southern sky. The change is coming in animals
the
now.
Hours of daylight are shortening. Mike Mann mentioned it a month and a half, 2 months ago. He's like, we have got all these little tiny finger mullet around everywhere. Those little morsels, if you will. Not the typical. He says it's like a finger mullet run, but they're smaller. So they were gathering in the lagoons and in the intracoastal areas. And I think the little triggers that you just mentioned, along with the swell, anytime you get a swell, that seems to trigger, be another trigger. That's telling those fish that are in the intracoastals, hey, we need to start moving. And like you say, it's not the main typical finger mullet run with the slightly larger ones. These are those little backwater fish that are kind of pushing out and coming down too. But they're also still in the lagoon, and my goodness, they make some good baits. I mean, they make some good baits.
Yes, they do.
Yesterday, I didn't know if we were going to get a call from Blair this morning or not. I don't know if he's listening or what, but he called me yesterday and he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm getting wrecked." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "The snook, they're wrecking us."
Yeah.
I can't stop them. And he's like, "Where you at?" And I told him. He's like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, those are." He goes, "I stopped over there the other day with Kranick, and we had 40-pound and couldn't stop them." And so I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated with this." So we moved around a little bit. Once again, if you're not going to be able to land the fish, you might as well just. But long story short, there are other species that are still feeding on those little fingerlings. There's tons of little trout that are showing up. There's tons of ladyfish. We've got bluefish in the lagoon now. The mangrove snapper have been absolutely fantastic this year for whatever reason. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they've been great. Probably because of the higher salinity that we've had most all summer. We haven't had the typical rains. We've had that drought scenario, and the salinity's been higher. Mangroves like that higher salinity. But man, there's a lot of fish out there right now, especially right for me. I'm kind of looking at that 520 or even Pineda south to Sebastian area. That portion of the lagoon right now, there's a lot of life in it.
Yeah.
A lot of life in it. Now, I haven't been up to the north end lately, so I don't know. But, man, that stuff to the south, there's a lot of good stuff going on from here to Sebastian. So if you guys and gals get a chance to get out and check it out, please do. Hey, real quick, I want to let you know that this segment of the show is brought to you by Petrucci Insurance. So if you need any insurance needs for your car, boat, home, give them a call. Let them do a rate quote. Make sure that they can get you some really good coverage at a really good price. It's super easy to do. You just call them, 321-632-1200. That's 632-1200. Give them a call Monday morning and say, hey, I heard about it on Catch a Memory, and I'd like you to do a rate quote for me. They'll take your information as to what you're trying to insure, what your current policy is, and they'll see if they can find you a better deal. That's the way that you and I save money, is letting the professionals do what they do. And so call Petrucci Insurance. We're going to go to our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more, so don't go away. Alex and myself will be right back. Come back. It's Star Bright Cleaning Solutions segment time, and I'm telling you right now, you got to get the magic sponge. How many little scuffs and marks and everything? Yeah, hold it up there for me, Alex. Thank you. You got to get the magic sponge, because all those little things that don't come up, that thing will get them, and you don't have to kill yourself trying to clean it. You know, the one this is
another one that
save
your boat right here.
Salt off. Yep. But this thing right here, my pet peeve, one of my pet peeves, is hose marks on the gunnel. As you're dragging the hose around to clean the boat.
The newest hose I got, it's a great commercial hose. It's heavy duty. It's like, yeah, this hose is going to last forever. Right down the side of the boat, it's just black.
It leaves a mark, and you're just like, golly. You know what I did? I went and got one of those expandable, collapsible, fiber-covered hoses. Now, there's a good side and a bad side to it. The good side to it is I don't get those hose marks. It's basically the plastic PVC of the hose rubbing off on the gunnel of the boat as you're dragging it along. So you're leaving material behind. This thing picks it right off. But the problem with it is that fabric picks up dirt. Now I'm dragging a dirty, like the hose is like dirtier than a regular hose. Like you drag the hose in the boat and it brings a little grass and a little dirt.
Right.
This thing brings a pile of it. So you have to, when I pick it up, I have to turn around and spray down the hose and clean the whole hose off and get the salt, sand, and everything off of it before I bring it in. But it's not leaving the streaks. It's not leaving the streak. But you don't want to be sandpapering your gunnel. But long story short, Magic Sponge takes all of those little things off of there, all those little goos, all those little saps, all those little things that you're just like, where did this come from, and why won't my deck brush get it up? The Magic Sponge does it. So get yourself one of those Magic Sponges from Star Bright, and you guys and gals won't be disappointed. That's for sure. You know what, Alex? You were talking finger mullet run. The finger mullet precede sort of the minnows. And so we should be getting more minnows and more pilchards starting to show up here as we come into the next couple of weeks. And that leads me to Spanish mackerel. And I know you like catching the Spanish mackerel as much as I do. Let's talk, this is future projection because it's not today, but in the next month to 3 months between now and Christmas, let's talk a little bit about Spanish mackerel and how to target them.
Yeah, shockingly, actually, I mean, you saw the picture from yesterday. We had a 4 or 5 pound Spanish laying on top of some nice flounders.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, in the beginning of the week, I think it was Monday or so, I was headed out to get my bait for the week, go out and catch some croakers for the week and stuff like that. Just happened to have my kingfish gear on there because I was going to try to go a couple days before, and pulled out of the port, and they were blowing up on mullet all up and down the bite.
Well, Spanish were.
And they weren't just little guys. They were nice, solid fish.
Gotcha.
I ended up putting the hard gear in the water and did 60 pounds of them real quick, just kind of cruising around. Nice. So they are already here.
Okay.
And they were, 2 to 4 pound fish. We'll call them those kind of medium,
nice.
medium to larges. Not quite the XL jumbos or anything like that, And that's a really good piece of meat for a lot of people. A lot of people try to poo-poo a mackerel and, no, it's not good to eat. It's not this, not that. But you keep a Spanish or even a king nice and cold, take care of your fish, keep that thing in an ice slurry, get it nice and when you go to fillet these, especially a Spanish mackerel, I'll talk more about how we catch them, but this is something I always try to tell people, and I see the same thing with king mackerels. Any kind of mackerel, if you can fillet that fish in one swipe, meaning you're not manipulating meat and going down backbone and pulling meat up, the more you pull at that meat and mess with that meat, the more it breaks apart, the more it becomes the mush that everybody talks about. When I do even a king up to 15 pounds, I'll grab that thing right by the tail, start right at the base of the tail, and run the knife in one shot straight up to his neck, the whole way up.
The backbone.
Right up the backbone. You're going to leave a layer of meat along, where the backbone, where the knife's skipping along the backbone.
Yeah. You don't get all of the meat.
It's a 1/16 of an inch of flesh. You've got enough already. And the quality of what you get out of that, I won't even touch things. Slide that knife right up to the gills, one shot straight down the collar to cut the fillet off, and flip the whole fish over and lay the fillet on the table. Skin it, and you have a piece of meat that is not broken up, that's nice and solid. Mackerels are mackerels. They want to slash something, they want to beat on it, and they want to eat it, and they love flying out of the water when they do it. There's nothing better than watching a Spanish, a nice one come, mullet flying off to one side, Spanish going there, or feeding a pogie into your prop wash and having a kingfish skyrocket on it right behind you.
Before we go any farther, let's talk about cleaning a Spanish mackerel, because that can be a very difficult thing because the skin is paper thin.
So what I do is the same from tail, grab him right by his tail, knife in at the base of the tail, slide that knife straight up his rib or right up his backbone, all the way to the collar, rip that off. And then the big thing is just an extremely sharp knife. And skinning fish is an art form all in and of itself. I mean, you watch somebody that cleans fish a lot, just the process of somebody blowing through 15 fish in, 25 minutes, and it would have taken anybody else 3 hours of sitting there carving on it like the Christmas turkey. Seeing somebody really blow through fish because they know the anatomy, they know where the knife needs to be placed. There's no wasted movement. It's pretty impressive to watch. But on the flip side, skinning fish is a whole nother technique in and of itself, and a very sharp knife helps. I tend to run the Dexters, and I like the slightly thinner blade, not the big heavy duty, but the thinner, more flexible blade.
The two things that I tell people, see, it's either got to be extremely sharp or you need a dull knife. Because a dull knife won't go through the skin as easily.
Yep. Yeah, you'll just just be pulling meat.
If it's just partially sharp or kind of average sharp, it's not a good blade. It's got to be micro-tuned by micro-fine edge, or really kind of dull where it won't actually dig in properly into the skin. And the other thing is the angle. Angles are huge with your knife blade. And with any kind of mackerel or any kind of fish that has a thinner skin, I like to go at a much shallower angle. I don't go as aggressive as you would on a triple tail or a redfish or a black drum or something, a mangrove snapper that has a thick skin. You can lay the blade down against it and push. You're cutting the meat, but you're kind of pushing the meat off of the skin, to use an analogy. Where with the mackerel, you got to lay that thing like at a 15-degree angle instead of a 40 or 45 and go super shallow. And don't be afraid, again, on the skin side, don't be afraid to leave just a little layer there, because it's better to leave a little meat on the skin than to go through the skin. If you blow through the skin, now you got a mess.
So there's, and like I said, yes, a guy blowing through a bunch of fish is amazing to watch, but if you really break down the skinning of it, very rarely do I run the skin. So I'm almost, because just about every fish has that layer of connective, reddish, bloody, meat-ish connective tissue. So I'm
between the meat and the skin.
and the skin. So almost every fish I cut is going to be floating that knife as I'm skinning it.
Yeah.
So I'm not slamming to the table. I'm actually floating that knife down it. And when you get to the thin-skinned fish, like that mackerel yesterday, I blew through a little section. You just flip it over and, shave that little section off. But the real sharp knife, because the mackerels are real super thin. Pompano, we've been talking about, extremely thin skin.
Pompano's another.
And they're tough to do. And
honestly, with pompano, I like to leave the skin on. Just broil it, skin side down. Wash it. Wash the skin. Wash the slime, the scales. Wash that part of it. Okay, pat it dry. You don't want to you don't want to leave water on the meat. It's not. It kind of degrades it pretty quickly. Pat it dry. Get that, but you wash the back side of it and just skin side down in the broiler. Yeah, a little sprinkle of this and that, a little seasoning.
A lot of your thinner skinned, small scale fish, mackerels are one of them.
Yeah.
They're little tiny scales. You ever mess with Spanish all day? You're like, where did all these scales?
Looks like glitter.
Your whole bed. Like it's like you've been to the house of ill repute going on over there, just shining like a diamond because you got so many scales all over your body. And pompano are almost scaleless.
Yeah.
Along with your permit and your palmettos and things of that nature. Those fish are great to leave skin on, and crisps up. It's nice. It's a different. It's different for a lot of people, but sometimes it's not bad to expand your horizon.
So my good friends John and Helena Wilkes have had us over for pompano twice, 2 or 3 times now, and they take the pompano and they split it right down the middle, and then so they go from top to bottom, right down through the head.
Right.
Use a serrated knife to get through the skull. Peel it open, cut out the gills, cut out the stomach contents, and just peel it open.
Like butterflied.
Butterflied, yeah, like you would a mullet if you were gonna smoke a mullet. Just peel it open, and it's attached at the belly skin still, from the tail, like from the anal vent to the tail. It's still attached, so you got 2 sides, but it's got still kind of one piece of fish. And then they put just a little bit of butter and a little bit of brush a little olive oil, little seasoning here and there. If you want to throw some capers or something in there, you can jazz it up however you want to jazz it up. But once again, broiled. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
Delicious. It's actually pompano is actually the only fish that I personally, other than I do like some mangrove, some smaller snappers, I personally enjoy as a whole fish.
Yeah. Yes.
Whole fish, fried, broiled, whatever you want to do. It's pretty.
Everything else, take the meat off of the rest of it. Yeah. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our last break of the day. Captain Alex Gorichky and myself are going to be right back, so don't go away. We're going to be back with more Catch a Memory. This section of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone. Stop down to Strike Zone and get you some knives so that you can clean your fish. Charlie Silver says dull Dexter for sure. Yeah,
for skinning.
That's exactly.
They work perfect.
That's exactly what I have. I have a dull Dexter that I do my skinning with most of the time. He's right about that. But man, I've got some Williamsons that have those martini blades.
Right.
It's an Italian metal, or I don't know where they're. Oh man, those things hold an edge. I absolutely love those blades. Hey, we got a couple of things we need to tell you about. But stop in the Strike Zone. Check out all the cool gear that you can get there. They appreciate them sponsoring this segment of the show. We got the P&K Altman Foundation Take a Kid Fishing clinic coming up. It's going to be on October the 12th at Fox Lake Park. A couple of cool things. One, FWC has put some tagged fish in Fox and South Lake. So if you catch one, you can win like $100. Or somebody said maybe there's a couple that might be like $200 fish. I don't know for sure. All I know is that there's some tagged fish in there, and apparently there's some kind of a reward for it. So that's kind of cool. But the P&K Altman Foundation is going to, in conjunction with the Indian River 90 Free, and it's the Masons. I forgot what their whole name is. But the Masons. And my friends, Daryl and Jimmy Devine and some of these guys are part of that Masonic Lodge, and they are helping to put on this for the kids. There's going to be 40 spots available. Every kid gets a rod and reel. There's going to be lunch from 11 to 12. And here's the other cool thing. One of my customers, Mike Phelps, he's been trying to get out. He has a 3-day block with me, and he's been trying to get out with me for a while now. And he said, look, he says, he's kind of having some difficulties, okay? He says, I'm not going to be able to get there. He goes, do you have like a kid that you could take fishing? He goes, just use my deposit money and take a kid fishing. So what we're going to do is we're taking his deposit money. I'm going to donate the other half of the charter,
Nice.
and we're going to give away a fishing charter for one of the kids, one of the 40 kids that comes to this particular event. So if you want to get your kid involved, it's a great time. Get them out and do a little fishing, have a great lunch, learn some knots, some techniques, things like that. And if you want to get involved with them, please contact me. I can help you get involved with that if you want to. Or you can just sign them up directly by going to Altman, ALTMAN, for Altman's AC at CFL.RR.com. So it's Altman's AC at CFL.RR.com. Or, like I said, contact me. But we're going to do this little giveaway for the Take Kid Fishing thing. It's going to be a big time. Going to be a big time. Any captains, if you're not doing something on that day, any captains are invited to come out and kind of help the kids, teach them how to tie knots, teach them how to unhook a fish, proper casting techniques, things of that nature. Things that you can help fine tune a kid and get him dialed in and really headed in the right direction.
I haven't done anything like that in years, but there was nothing funner than doing all the Hook Kids on Fishing stuff with Rodney and man, it was just such a good time. Kids that don't get a chance, parents that don't have a clue, and their kids ate up with fishing.
Well, here's the thing that you find is that the kid is who you're trying to reach, but a lot of times you're reaching the adult just as much.
Yep.
Because the adult mom or the adult dad that may not, be proficient at it is sitting there going, yeah, I can do this. So it's a twofer, Yep. You get an adult with the child. This is like a buy one get one. So you gotta like that. So anybody that wants to get involved in this, just give me a shout or go to Altman's AC at CFL.RR.com and you can check that out. That's October the 12th. Now the following week, October the 19th, the 29th annual Port Canaveral Kids Fishing Clinic put on by the Florida Sport Fishing Association and FWC. I can't believe this has been going this long. I remember when we did the first one. It's been a minute. It's been a minute,
I'm actually going to be there with a booth for our mangrove stuff and Project Sea Safe in Starbright.
Awesome.
So we'll be teaching some kids all about mangroves and how to care for our lagoon and
the importance
some clam stuff and all
what
fun
mangroves do for this.
Exactly.
People don't realize it's just another tree. No, it is not another tree. This tree is extraordinary in what it has the ability to do. So, yeah, mangroves are our friend. Trust me on that. So that is on the 19th, and you can go to fsfaclub.org and click on the link there for Florida Sport Fishing Association Club.org, fsfa.org, fsfaclub.org, and get your kids involved. And I think they have room for 300 kids between 5 and 15 years old on that. So
there's always some good fish caught.
Yeah.
They go out and throw some chum in the water and chum it up a little.
Yeah.
There's always some good
and
fish
this
caught.
time of the year, you got the finger mullet running through the port.
Yeah.
So there can be flounder, big mangrove snapper, bluefish, Spanish mackerel. Every once in a while, there's a zing pow, too, because somebody get into a snook, put a finger mullet down and
triple
get into
tail
it.
come
Triple
floating
tail
by.
come floating by, yeah. Yeah, so, and once in a while, you get a chance to land them.
Yeah.
So, anyway, good stuff. Get the kids out. It's a great time, and it's a great cause for the P&K Altman Foundation. And then also the kids get free rods and reels, so that's always a good thing. Alex, we've only got like 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
What do we want to wrap up with?
I don't know. Time flies.
Well, you know what? We didn't finish on the Spanish. We got talking about
filleting fish.
cleaning. So I just bought a boat.
Right.
Okay. And I don't really know what I'm doing just yet. How do I go catch a Spanish mackerel going out of Port Canaveral in my brand new boat that I bought from Boaters Exchange?
Well, rule number one is find fish. And with Spanish mackerel, it's usually not that hard to figure out where they're at. almost always a pile of birds. As we said, they're aggressive.
And you'll see them jumping.
They're jumping out of the water, hitting baits. They're blowing up on baits. They're one of those fish that it is not hard to tell that it's around, that there's something going on, and it's not just bait fish flopping around. It's predators going at it and doing what they do. Fast and shiny is really the kind of the baseline of it.
Yeah.
You can expand off of that as far as you want to go with, I'll throw a fly rod at them, this, that, the other. Fast, shiny, and you'll catch the Spanish. Spoons are great, obviously. The diamond spoons are real good, too.
Now, when you're looking at the diamond spoons, what weight do you prefer?
I like something heavy because...
Like a 3/4?
Yeah, in the 3/4 and even sometimes up to an ounce.
Really? Okay.
So you can wing that thing and you
and
can't...
reel it fast.
You can't ever reel fast enough.
Yeah.
So a heavier jig or spoon at the rate of speed that you really want to be moving it, a light one, it'd be skipping across the top of the water, whereas that hevier spoon will bite, get down, and actually stay pinned into the water.
More stable
Even
in
the
water.
gator spoons, I'll throw the full 1 ounce, 1.5 ounce. I mean, it's a 5-inch, 6-inch
Now,
spoon.
what about a guy that can't cast?
So I trolled for, the ones that I did. I had my hard gear, kingfish gear on the boat and literally just tied leaders to my boat and had drone spoons. I had, good swivels. Anytime you're running a spoon, good swivel is always mandatory. You don't want to spin all your stuff up. Even though the braid doesn't spin up like the mono used to, it'll still get all messed up on you. Good solid swivel and keep that thing to where it doesn't
A ball
twist.
bearing
Yes.
Sampo style swivel.
Ball bearing.
Not just a regular crane swivel, but
Right.
a ball bearing swivel.
Real swivel. You're going to spend a couple bucks.
Yeah.
A couple bucks on those swivels. But like I said, fast and shiny. So you take your spoons, you put them on your rods, you troll them. You can try to integrate maybe a planer in that rod and reel scenario that'll help drag it down just a bit and keep it down in the water. If you don't feel like jumping to the planer, instead of putting it 100 foot back, put it 150, 200 foot back. The more scope out on that line, the more that spoon's going to be willing to stay in water and stay doing it.
And speed.
If I'm trolling, I'm no less than 6 mile an hour, 7 mile an hour, like full on, like almost dolphin
Like
trolling
dolphin
speed.
ballyhoo speed.
Right. And then definitely more than I even do when I'm doing kingfish.
Yeah.
And then if you're casting, you can't reel it fast enough. I don't care how fast you reel. One thing that I like to do a lot of times is I will actually, oddly enough, take a stinger rig meant for kingfish, treble hook front, treble hook back, mullet on each hook, send it out the back.
And just slow
The
troll
two
that.
mullet and slow troll that. And they come in, they blast the mullet. If they hit the back one, there's still another mullet to get eaten. They hit the middle one, they're getting nothing but hooks in the face.
Yeah.
Works really well, and it's an easy way to do it.
And one of the other things that I found is I use a Rapala X-Wrap, and I use the size 10 in either a black back or a green back. And I troll, you want to troll it just fast enough to make the rod tip have maximum vibration. If it's just got a little jiggle to it, you're not quite going the right speed. Adjust your speed either up or down until you get that heavy little rod tip thump, like ding, 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 ding. That is an easy way to catch them for me as well, and very, very productive.
I've always, it's funny when you're trying to go slow fishing, sight fishing, you can never go slow enough.
Right.
When you're trying to do fast fishing, you can never go fast enough. So if you're in those scenarios on either end of the scale, slow way down and speed way up.
Yeah. Well, that like you say, you can't outreel the fish because you can reel maybe at 12 or 15 mile an hour, but that fish can swim 30.
Exactly. You're not going to beat them. That's for sure.
Well, Alex, I appreciate you coming in this morning. You're a wealth of knowledge. Always a fantastic time when we're on the show.
Absolutely.
How does somebody get a hold of you and do some charter fishing with you?
Hey, just give me a call at 321-480-3255 or hit me up at locallinescharters.com.
If you guys want to know how to kayak fish in the lagoons or fish anything outside of Port Canaveral, Alex is the guy. He is absolutely one of the best in the entire East Coast. So give Alex a call. Appreciate you coming in. Alex Gorichky, Local Lines Charters. Till next week, do exactly what Alex and myself are going to do. Get out there and catch yourselves a memory.